Hi, welcome back to the Retirement Pivot. I'm Kat Kelly, and this is a channel where we just kind of talk about things related to the many unusual ways we might have to shift our gaze, make a pivot, change maybe how we're thinking about things as we move toward retirement, into retirement, and then as we enjoy our retirement. So, just looking today at the idea of going from a work identity to a freedom identity, that pivot can be a challenging one, and it was for me. So I wanted to share some information that was helpful to me, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you as well. So I retired a little over a year ago. I was an elementary school teacher, and with all the things that come with being an elementary school teacher, of course, we picture our elementary school teachers, right, as the sweet elementary school teachers. And certainly when I left the classroom, I left some things behind. I left my professional persona behind. Because I was going into retirement, I wasn't going to another job. Um, I left some of my confidence behind because I felt so confident. After 37 years teaching, I felt very confident about the job that I did. I had earned a doctorate in my field, so I was very knowledgeable. And so the pivot for me from that work identity to freedom identity, I'm calling it my retirement identity, it was a little bit challenging. I was not just an elementary school teacher, I was also very involved in advocacy for education in the state of New York on Long Island. I was the vice president of my labor union, local, so I was involved with, you know, different kinds of advocacy for my colleagues. Also worked very hard for a number of years on the contract negotiation committee. So I was one of a very small number of teachers who worked to negotiate contracts for over 800 members of our union. So I had an identity that was pretty much integral to who I was. And so leaving that was a pivot for sure. And I want to talk about, last week we talked about the 5 F's, the hidden challenges of retirement. Those would be friends, family, focus, finances, and feeling connected. And if you want to go back and look at that video, I will link it here. I would appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe. It's very helpful for getting this channel a little broader display to other YouTubers, I guess, people who watch YouTube. I don't know what they call them. But I'd appreciate that. So moving from work identity to a more of a freedom identity. I went from feeling engaged and confident, feeling energized and plugged in, and people came to me to solve problems. And I was part of a team, other very important people on the team. And moving from that to retirement was quite a shift, quite a pivot. I started to feel unimportant. Um, I was suddenly deciding where to put plants in the garden and, those kinds of decisions, feeling a little bit invisible, sort of just in the world because I didn't have my advocacy, sort of cloak to wear. And I was feeling a little bit unneeded, unnecessary, if you think about it that way. Because I didn't have people, coming to me and like, what should we do about this? And, how can we solve this and that kind of stuff. So you may be feeling that on different levels, depending on what your job was. And that transition can be a challenging one. So what I want to talk about is that in retirement, we gain so much. We, of course, gain freedom. We gain the ability to make our own decisions for our time. We gain a sense of ease. We gain opportunity to travel, which is nice if you're a traveler. And we do gain less stress. We don't have that work stress. We have other stresses, and of course, there's always stress, in our families and those kinds of things. The world is a little bit stressful now, so I try to temper how much of it I let in. But we also, in gaining all those things, there are some things we lose. We lose that sense of importance. We lose some of our professionalism, the feeling of being a confident professional, and some of that connectedness. So that fifth F in our 5 Fs, the struggles, the feeling connected, is kind of key here. And so I want to talk about what are some solutions that I found? So, when I started feeling that way, first in the beginning, in that first 6 months, which I talk about is my, I don't want to do anything kind of 6 months. I just want to do whatever I want. And it was lovely. And I would say take that time to just kind of feel out the retirement vibe. Travel if you can, if you want, if you're a traveler, do, whatever it is that you want. Spend time with friends, start to unplug from your old life and start to sort of weave your new life. After that, and during that time, I had a strong sense of calm. My shoulders disconnected from my earlobes, as I say, like we walk around like this with the stress, and was able to disconnect because I didn't have people coming to me to solve problems, to get input. What should we do about this? What's the history of this decision? What does the contract say about that? I didn't. I mean, I did have some people calling me about the contract, I will say, in Florida, but in general, my daily existence wasn't walking down the hall and being bombarded by other people's needs. It was very nice, just for even just a short time, to not have to do all that problem solving. And you wear other people's worries when they give them to you. And so, if that is something that you've experienced in your job, enjoy that first blush of not having to have that kind of stress. It was lovely. And then I started to feel a little bit invisible, a little bit unimportant, and like wondering, okay, how am I going to solve that? Because I do like to feel like I'm part of a team. I do like to feel like I'm connected to the world in some way. So I think today I'd like to talk about some things that I've done that have helped solve that problem. I do think it's important that we recognize that it's better for the world for people to feel connected and confident. It's better for individuals, it's better for families, it's better for communities, and it's better globally to feel connected and like we're problem solvers. So I would just want to say that, and also that what research says about how confident people add to the world around them, they engage with others. It takes confidence to volunteer to engage with others, to say, I might be able to help solve that. They are problem solvers. They have confidence in their own ability to solve problems. They resource thoughtfully. There's a creativity in thinking about solutions in a sort of a boundaryless way, perhaps. They create and generate new ideas. The courage that it takes to create and generate new ideas comes from feeling like you're capable of doing that. And they're also more apt to help others, to reach out to others if they have the confidence that what they have to offer is possibly important to the process of solving the problem for those other people. So I think those are reasons to really find ways for us to feel confident and important in our own lives. And some of the solutions, we used to feel professionally successful. So how do we feel like successful retirees? And I think some of that has to do with just designing your retirement to have lots of aspects to it where you could be an expert. I would say become a volunteer, or volunteer in many ways. I am working on volunteering with the the Manatees Foundation. I love manatees; they're so sweet, and we have them here in Florida at Blue Springs. And so I'm working toward doing the volunteer hours and things for that. I volunteer for an organization called Neighbors Network, which is a volunteer organization that is designed to help our elderly neighbors, our older neighbors, or our disabled neighbors, I guess, differently abled neighbors, to stay in their homes as long as possible safely. And so I do things like yesterday I was helping one of my neighbors. She needed a new hose, so we've got a new hose, and I took her old hose off the bib and put the new hose in. She didn't have the hand strength to do it, and I needed to attach it to the new windy thing that she got for it. I have helped people clean up their patios, wash their windows outside. I've done all kinds of things. We organize. We take them to and from doctor's appointments. I just volunteered to take someone on Tuesday morning to a kind of infusion. So when I do that, it helps me to feel like a participant and someone who's helping with someone else's problems. And that sort of helps me to make that pivot to my freedom personality, my freedom uh, identity. Also, hobbies, coming up with new hobbies. One of the things that I've developed is a sourdough hobby, and I think I mentioned it in a past video. And not only am I baking sourdough, but I've been teaching people about sourdough because it's become very sort of um, innate with me, intuitive with me. I've been able to really develop a sense of how to do that well, and so I've taught two classes, I think a total of like 12 people maybe. And developing a YouTube channel with instructional videos. And so adding to my capable identity of myself, my connectedness, I've just kind of fallen into really this hobby that has become really a love of mine. So I would encourage you to try new things. Make a list of 10 things you're going to try. Maybe I'll put a list of like 100 possible things to try. I'll link it somewhere down below or somewhere on this video, and you can take a look and do it like a checkoff. Say, maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try that. Fishing. I think I went fishing once when I was 17. I'd like to go fishing. I don't really like fish, but I like being outside. So I want to try that. Kayaking. I want to do some more kayaking. I want to kayak with the manatees. That would be awesome. Obviously leaving them alone because they're wild animals. That's one thing. Sports. Try new sports. I took up golf. Love golf, and I'm learning it. I'm feeling it. I'm um, getting good at different parts of it. I've been taking lessons and I've been playing with new friends. So all of that connects me to others, helps me to feel confident. I don't have people coming and asking me, to negotiate a contract for them or anything like that, like I did in the past. But I do feel that just connecting with people where you can have shared experiences and talk about things is really key to that feeling connected. Um, Games. I started playing mahjong. My sister has a bunch of friends. I live with my sister. She's also single. Both of us are single, and she's a teacher as well. A teacher. She's in service. She's still teaching. But she has some friends, and they wanted to play mahjong. So we got together. Four of us got together, and we're like, well, let's learn how to play mahjong. So we've been trying. I'm sure breaking all the rules. I have friends, Susan and Mary Jo, who I will send them a hand, and they'll be like, well, you can't really use a joker that way. But anyway, learning new things, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert at mahjong, but becoming expert at new things, developing expertise really is it's great for your brain. We chit chat while we're doing it. We have, find out what we have in common, that kind of stuff. Another way in retirement that a lot of people connect is book clubs. I'm not a huge reader. I would like to be one, but I'm really not. And I like to read nonfiction, so I think my book clubs would be very boring for most people. So, but my mom is 83 and she's in 5 book clubs. She's in one that's about social justice. She's in one that's called Bring a Title, I think, where you don't all have to read the same book. You just get together and talk about the book you're reading. And maybe it makes someone else want to read that book as well. And so a share a title book club is kind of nice because nobody's telling you what book to read, which is, I think, for me, one of the downsides of a book club. For other people, it's an upside of a book club. Become an activist. Get involved. The environment could use our support, not for nothing. The world around us could use our support in whatever way you see fit. I won't tell you how you should participate, but um, lots going on that could use voices and participation and um, that kind of thing. If you're religious, get involved in your house of worship. I know ours, I'm Catholic, and our churches around here are very involved in the community and very involved in problem solving in the community, helping people, and having shared faith experiences and those kinds of things. So I would say all of those are possible ways to develop that freedom identity because your work identity is no longer sort of present for you, find pivot to that freedom identity, to that retirement identity, and really develop that as something that feeds you and helps you to feel confident and connected and all of those things. Um, and that's it for today. I wish you well. I hope you're getting ready for retirement. If you're already retired, I hope you're having a blast, as I am. And I will see you next week, and we'll see what we talk about next week. Take good care.